Hi folks, welcome back to Edible Whole Foods. Obviously I'm a state fan, and there's nothing I like more than tailgating in the fall. It's just so much fun, so much energy, and I use Whole Foods to help me tailgate. Grab some buffalo wings from their hot bar. Their potato salad is good, it's Southern style, and it's really wonderful. These beans with bacon that they do, absolutely the best. You remember that cauliflower recipe we did where we tossed it with hot sauce? Well, I kind of cheated a little bit and I got some roasted cauliflower off the hot bar and then tossed it in that same sauce. But the main event here today, ribs. These ribs, this recipe is from my new book, Kamado Grill Cookbook, and it's also my most requested recipe from my column with the News and Observer. First thing you need to do is buy great pork. And by that, talk to your butcher at Whole Foods. There's a membrane right here that kind of messes things up. And it's kind of easy to get off. You just kind of get your finger up under it, then take a paper towel or a dishcloth and just sort of rip it off like that. Now, why do I think it's important to take this off? It helps the spices to penetrate, it helps the smoke to penetrate, and it's also easier to eat in the long run. Now, ribs my way. I start by putting down a layer of just regular old yellow mustard. Now you could use grainy mustard if you wanted to. When I like it a little extra spicy, I'll use bone-sucking mustard, which has got a nice kick to it. So I just rub that all over the ribs. And we need to do the other side too. So we'll get that done. Now, the mustard gives it a little bit of a vinegary tang, but it also helps hold the seasonings on very nicely, which is a big part of a rib. Now this rib is kind of halfway between a Memphis style and a Kansas City. Since we're on that side, I'm gonna use butt rub, mainly because I like the way it sounds. Teresa, this is for you, by the way. And we're gonna coat it pretty heavy. So once we got that side, we're gonna flip it again, do a nice coating on that side. All right, so once we get it to here, we're gonna smoke it. And we're gonna smoke it at about 200 degrees for about 2 hours. Now, one of the things I want you to be aware of, and one of the reasons you see this one wrapped, is I know it makes for pretty pictures to see a bunch of bones sticking out, but if you've got bones out, those are called shiners, and that's an indication that you've overcooked your pork. And if you were in competition, you would flunk. It just won't work that way. So if you start seeing little bones starting like that before the ribs are about 80–85% done, and if you just wrap them up, an hour and a half, that's all the ribs need to really get the smoke penetration that you want. Then we're gonna pull them over on direct heat. Now, you could do the smoking the day before if you wanted to and take a smaller grill out to the game. All right, so once we got them like that, then the saucing begins. So we're just gonna slather these puppies with sauce. I tend to use a thicker sauce, but you could use a thin sauce, or if you really like Memphis style ribs like the Rendezvous in Memphis, then instead of doing this, sprinkle them again with your butt rub or whatever seasoning rub you're using. So we do that. I'm gonna do this quick for TV. I like to flip them, hit them again. Did you hear that sizzle? That's a little bit of that sugar out of the sauce that's being caramelized, and you kind of want that. All right, so we're gonna rub them, rub. I tend to look at sauce as a glaze, so I'm not putting that much sauce on. You can always put more sauce on when you are ready to eat. Flip them back over, do that a couple more times, and then my secret. Drizzle a little bit of honey right over the ribs, sort of let it melt in. Close your lid one more time and kind of let that glaze. Now, Valanda, Alex, aren't you sorry you missed this? But folks, I gotta be honest with you. I've been smelling this smoke and smelling these ribs all morning. I'm gonna eat. So thanks for joining us. Come back to see us next week on Edible Whole Foods.